Young Saudi men are romantics. They go goo-goo over movies I consider ridiculous, like Titanic, and in their free time, lie around and watch talk shows. Oprah and Dr. Phil are some of the favorites. Now for many this may be hard to believe, since we often hear horror stories about Saudi women being beaten and killed by their men. There are Saudi clerics who claim to be doctors, teaching young men the correct way to beat their wives. Women can't drive, women can't vote, and women must not be seen by anyone besides their husbands. Yes, women have it really bad in Saudi Arabia, but what about the men?
Oh yeah!
Being a man in Saudi Arabia may seem ideal to some men, if you have the mentality of a Neanderthal, that is. But for a minute, let's pretend that most men believe they are worth more than a woman, that they are more rational and are physically and mentally stronger. Saudi Arabia would appear to be Mecca for them. Or is it hell? Not only does Saudi Arabia oppress their women, they oppress their men as well. For the young Saudi man, it is impossible to act on their sexual and romantic instinct. Saudi men are not allowed to communicate with women, even their future wives, and are not even allowed to see what they look like until the wedding night. It is an ongoing joke. If you want to know what your future wife looks like, look at her brother. There is no such thing as courtship. Calling a woman or sending her flowers would be considered a sign of disrespect to both families. Valentine's Day has been outlawed since it is seen as a pagan holiday that promotes relations between the sexes before marriage, which is punishable by law. Saudi men are not allowed to go into the malls where women shop. Just this past February, 57 young men were arrested for flirting with girls in a shopping center. They were accused of wearing indecent clothes, playing loud music, and dancing to get the attention of girls. Can you imagine? What would most of the teenagers in the United States do on a Saturday afternoon if hanging with girls at the mall was outlawed? So what can sexually healthy Saudi men do to release their tension? Engage in homosexual affairs. It is well known that Saudi Arabia can be paradise for homosexual men, with some traveling to the country for the sole purpose of engaging in homosexual affairs with sexually oppressed and depressed Saudi men. Are you shocked? Well, what's more shocking is that most Saudi men do not consider themselves homosexuals, since they are the ones receiving oral sex or the ones sodomizing. But a confused sexual identity is the least of their worries, since engaging in homosexual sex is against the law, punishable by death. You would think that in a country run by men, that the younger generation of men would rebel against these strict and unrealistic laws. But this is not the case. Saudi men are taught from birth that they are the guardians of the family's reputation and must avoid dishonoring their families with their own behavior. The Saudis base their religious beliefs on their primitive desert tribal traditions. And the scariest thing is that with all of Saudi's money, they are able to spread their fundamental practices throughout the world to other Muslim countries. Perhaps an unthought of and never before considered movement may have to be established to liberate Saudi men. Subscribe.